Well, welcome to the BNI Effect, the home of amazing conversations with Brisbane BNI members, sharing tips on how you can get the most out of your BNI membership. I'm Tony Meredith, and ordinarily I'm a business coach, but today I'm your host and fellow BNI member. And this episode is episode number 28, and today's guest is Peter Cassimatis. Peter, hello, mate. How are you?
Good, Tony. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you for being here. Hey, let's kick it off with you telling us a little bit about who you are and what your business is.
Yeah, definitely. So my name is Peter. My business name, very original, is Peter Cassimatis Exercise Physiology. So I'm an exercise physiologist by trade. For anyone who hasn't heard or doesn't know of an exercise physiologist, we're an allied health professional. So we have a university qualification behind us, and we basically learn about the body, how it's meant to move, how it's meant to work, but then also we study the chronic conditions in the world and some of the troubles that people can obviously come across with how their body may not want to move in the right way. And what we then do is with exercise, we can either help implement a program to either improve, maintain, or manage said condition or whatever injury that they may have coming across their table.
Yeah, it's
So
amazing. So what's an example of some of the injuries or ailments that you work with, mate?
yeah, so from a chronic condition level, we can deal with cardiovascular type conditions. So anyone who's just had stents put in or post heart attacks. Um, we can deal with neurological conditions, so Parkinson's disease. We've also dealt with other types of lifestyle conditions, multiple sclerosis. We can even deal with cancer, not directly curing cancer, obviously, but we can help employ exercise to get the body ready to be physically strong enough for the next round of chemo and radium. So, also in addition to that, we've through scientific studies, exercise helps even with the blood flow move that chemo and radium around the body to help a bit more effective with their treatment. So that's the chronic condition side of things. We can deal with musculoskeletal injuries as well. So whether it's in the sporting or the workplace or even just general average Joe Blows who get sore backs behind a desk, we can obviously help maintain a bit more mobility and strength in that low back so that they can obviously deal with the demands of their job. And then we can also just do with general strength and conditioning and basically PT work or athletic development sort of thing.
And how long have you been in business for, Peter?
So my business has been operating since 2021. Yeah, so February 2021. So yeah, about 3.5 years.
And where are you based?
I'm in Brisbane, so on the north side of Brisbane in a suburb called Albany Creek. And so now it's myself and my wife. My wife is also a qualified exercise physiologist as well. So we're trying to expand the business moving forward and bring her in, and we'll see what can happen with that as well.
Very exciting. And when you talk about expansion, then what are you referring to? Getting a different location, going further and wider?
Yeah, so what we want to try and do is we'll definitely look at rebranding to start with because already since she's come on board, there's been the reoccurring joke of why isn't her name on the business? I have to say that, well, first I started off as a sole trader and then she bought me out when we got married. So that was the business decision there. But yeah, we'll probably look at rebranding to make it a little bit more of a general wholesome name, but also we would like to expand into a more multidisciplinary approach to the business. So exercise, obviously, the forefront, but want to try and make it all in-house because another element in our industry that we can obviously help with people on the NDIS disability scheme. So a lot of those individuals and the ones that care for them obviously really appreciate where services can be all under the one roof. So that would obviously be a great point for us to obviously head towards as well.
Wow, exciting times ahead, mate. Let's have a chat about BNI. So how and when were you introduced to BNI?
Yeah, so I've been in BNI since May this year, 2024. I got introduced to it by one of my clients who I still see. I've been seeing him for about 2.5, 3 years. He actually approached me to give it a look into years ago, but I was not interested in really building my business. I had just come off the back of a another business that I was in before my own business now, and I guess the negative effects of that experience kind of led me to be like, I'm not too keen to pursue this industry anymore. However, I still had a current clientele that was helping me, kick over, pay the bills, all that kind of stuff. And then, this last sort of 12 months, since obviously my wife has become an exercise physiologist, we've been sort of reevaluating the goals moving forward. And so, yeah, obviously change of mindset. Let's move forward. Let's try and build it. Hit up that client, and I was like, all right, let's have a look and see what your group's all about. And from the very first visit, I was like, yeah, this looks like a place I could definitely look to pursue to obviously give me insight and help build my business.
And what was it specifically at that meeting that led you to have that decision?
So with our group, it's a bit of a bigger group. We've got now about 41 members. At the time, there was about 40 still. So for me, walking into the room, I think the biggest thing that opened my eyes was how many people are like-minded in terms of the entrepreneurial space and business-minded. My upbringing, mum's a teacher, dad was a shift worker, so we didn't really have too much exposure into business life and what the strengths and the weaknesses of trying to run your own business. So to be in a room of people that may share similar, not exactly the same, but struggling times with their business and obviously methods of how to improve their business is, I think, one of the most underappreciated things that I've probably recognized in terms of the business space.
And so you've been in BNI since May, so about 4 or so months. So how's that 4 months been for you?
Yeah, it's good. Obviously, the first couple of months is just trying to wrap your head around the system and all the processes and the flow of the meetings with everyone. And still, I'm trying to catch everyone for a one-on-one and get to know more about their businesses and everything. So the meetings obviously help to get me a bit of a face value understanding of everyone in the room, but definitely, I think moving forward, definitely the one-to-ones will help me obviously move into that space. But everyone's been welcoming. Everyone, has basically taken me under their wing per se and said, welcome to the team. It definitely feels like a family in there as well, because obviously there is that weekly catch up and constant communication. So yeah, as much as it is, we're here for business and referrals for our own personal, benefit, we are also here for each other's benefits as well, in whether it be business, but mental space, business coaching, anything to bounce ideas off each other. It's really good.
Right. So what you're saying is it's not just networking. There's a whole range of other things that you get as well because you're building strong relationships with like-minded people.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to hear some of the other businesses in the room, you just didn't even know what was available out there. One example of that was there's a guy in our chapter who does insurance, and everyone obviously has a bit of an understanding about insurance, but he, in one of the meetings, got up and was talking about cyber insurance. And one of the top two industries, one of them was healthcare to be targeted by, cyber attacks. So that, you know, got me a little bit on the back and be like, oh, okay, so maybe that's something I might need to look into to lay down the foundation to protect my clients moving forward. So yeah, it's one of those sayings, you don't know what you don't know, and then it comes across your ears or your eyes or your table, and you obviously go with it.
I love it. How do you measure the success of your participation in BNI?
I think in this early times, I would say the success would be the receptiveness that I get from the members in the room. Obviously, very, very early days for me to say I have great nurtured relationships with people in the room, but already we've had some education within the meeting from our education coordinator, and through that we've had some implementation of some ideas and methods for us to obviously look at outside referrals. And already I've had my name uh, expressed to the room of the job that I've been putting in. So for to be more specific, we're looking at the Facebook community groups, and just keeping an eye out for anyone in the community looking for services. Quickly tag one of the businesses in the room that is obviously applicable for that job. So I said to myself, I might struggle to physically get referrals on a weekly basis because I see the same clients day in, day out, rather than brand new fresh faces. So I was like, well, I'll commit to, that as one of my main methods. And so that was definitely caught the eyes of certain people in the room, and it got acknowledged. So I think that would probably be one of my key success points so far with
Good
that
on
one.
you. And are you having success with that method of finding new people to come along to your chapter?
Not quite. The visitor side of things is definitely an area for improvement for me.
Okay.
I definitely need to, I guess, plan it out a little bit more in terms of the approach to the manner. I've got one client who's a student in clinical nutrition, so that might be a person later down the track. I'll get her to come in and have a visit. So yeah, I think I might need to do a few more one-to-ones to just get a bit of an idea as to what exactly would be the ideal referral or visitor in the room. Because I think there may be some people that I don't consider to be suitable as a visitor, but they might actually be very much worthwhile.
And so for someone who's listening who's not sure what this one-to-one business is that we're talking about, what is that, mate? What are you referring to?
Yeah, so the one-to-one is outside of the meeting, which is, a can be about 90-minute meeting as a whole group once a week. But outside of that, you have the opportunity to catch up with other members in your chapter, as well as outside of your chapter and other chapters. Get to know them a little bit more on a one-to-one basis and get a better understanding specifically about their time in BNI, their business, how long they've obviously been in their business for, and then you have the opportunity to obviously outlay your time in BNI, but also your business adventure. So you both have a bit more of a mutual understanding of each other's businesses, so that if you are in the real world and you hear someone talking about, oh, I'm looking for, insurance and cyber, and ears prick up, oh, I know a guy for you. And yeah, so the one-to-one is just the foundation for nurturing the relationships in the room.
Yeah, it's about building deeper relationships, isn't it? It's getting to know people, like people, and trust people. And then, as you said, you're having plenty of conversations with a variety of different people within your own circle, and listening for, are there any opportunities where some of my connections at BNI might be able to assist in that regard, like you referred the insurance or cyber insurance example.
Yeah, definitely.
Fantastic. Now, mate, you're a relatively new member, but I mean, what advice have you got for other BNI members to make the most out of their membership?
I think the biggest thing I would say so far is keep an open mind. You might walk into a room from a particular industry, listening to everyone in the room, and think, oh, well, I haven't got much to deal with that person because they're in a different industry. But that may not be the case. You'd be very surprised. As I've been doing the one-to-ones, a lot of the people in the room haven't just done that one business their entire life. They have had other walks in their lives so far, whether it be in another industry or your own specific industry. So whether it's, their own particular business that they can obviously, give you a bit of advice and all that kind of stuff, but they might provide wisdom outside of that as well. So I think the number one thing so far for anyone new into the room would be keep an open mind and just immerse yourself. Try to get to know everyone as best as possible. Not necessarily as quickly as possible. You'd rather the quality over the quantity, but be there for the right reasons. Yeah, that would be
Keep an
my
open
advice.
mind. Great advice, Peter. Really appreciate that. What's next for your business? You touched on the fact that your wife is there and there's a potential name change on the horizon, but what else is happening for your business?
Yeah, so obviously there's the branding side of things. Moving forward, we have the goal of working in a proper commercial setup. So we actually operate from our garage in our home, and we would obviously like to take it to a point where it's busy enough to move into a proper commercial space, which would be great. I've been wanting to try and upskill myself, so further education, a little bit outside the exercise physiology space, but something that is obviously still applicable to people wanting rehab is a bit of dry needling. So looking into maybe doing a course like that next year, just to add a little bit more services to the business, and obviously therefore you can cast a bit of a wider net to attract people to coming into the business.
Very exciting. How do you see your relationship with BNI evolving as your business grows?
Yeah, I think for me, as a relatively young entrepreneur, I think BNI is definitely going to be a cornerstone to help me better navigate what entrepreneurship means. I've learned through some experiences already that you can have a plan of attack in the 5-year goal, 10-year goal, but very quickly you can deviate and you can move into a space you never thought you would go into. So having people in the room that you might go, oh, I never actually considered working with you or needing to have contact with you. This brand new opportunity within the business has popped up. So hey, I need to connect with you in that space. So I think that would be definitely where BNI is very applicable, especially not just within my own chapter, but the vast network internationally that is BNI. So exercise is internationally recognized. It's a profession done in every country. So whether we move into a space where we're creating online programs and we target international clients, that could very well be something we look at doing. Maybe creating a BNI corporate health initiative within the BNI network and internationally, that could be something. So yeah, the opportunities are endless.
Good on you. Good on you. Plenty of great stuff on the horizon for you. If you could share one piece of wisdom with our listeners, whether they be from BNI or just listening along, what would it be, Peter?
Yeah, so I'd like to share a wisdom related by a quote, one of my favorite quotes. So the quote is by Thomas Carlyle, or some people reckon it's by JP Morgan, but the quote goes, go as far as you can go, and then when you get there, you'll be able to see further. So people who are unsure with BNI and what to expect, just give it a go. There are some expectations and requirements, but go for as long as you can. And if you're not, that's fine, but you'll keep an open mind and you'll be surprised where it could possibly lead you.
And then, like you said, when you go as far as you go, and then you get there and you go, oh my gosh, I can go even further. So great advice, Peter. Really appreciate it. How can listeners learn more about your business or get in touch with you?
Yeah, so we are on social media. So at this point in time, as I said, we are Peter Cassimatis Exercise Physiology. So you can find us on Instagram, Facebook. We do have a website as well. So those are our 3 main methods that you can get in contact with us. Obviously, as mentioned a couple of times in this talk, we will be looking at a rebrand at some point. So after that, we might have to, I don't know, do another podcast later down the track.
More than happy to do it, mate. Now just what's your website URL?
That's a very good question. My wife set it up, so I'll quickly find it. So the website URL is pcassexphys.com.au. So that's pcassexphys.com.au.
Excellent. Thank you, mate. Really appreciate it. That wraps up another episode of the BNI Effect. I hope that you have enjoyed today's discussion, and I want to extend a massive thank you to our guest, Peter Cassimatis, for sharing his insights around his BNI journey and also business as well. If you found value in today's episode, then don't forget to subscribe to the BNI Effect on your favorite podcast platform, and please leave a review. Thanks for listening.